announcing over 10,300 on Friday, and even more here today. Tip is up, and Ole Miss will bring it up.
And this is Cody McMahon right there with the ball, the first in her hands, number 32 in blue. Keep your eye on this young lady.
McKinney gave it up, and then she laid it up. McKinney got into major foul trouble in the first half for Minnesota. She's crucial out on the floor. Take a look at our starting lineups, brought to you by Capital One. Maya Battle, one of the leading scorers all season. But Grholski had a tough outing, and they could use some of her scoring today.
Definitely, Grholski had her fingerprints all over the game. She just didn't put the ball in the hoop. This young lady did yesterday late in the game. She was a big part.
Double team and missed Hart. She was by herself momentarily. Shot clock down to 5. Braun tipped her up. Out of bounds off of Ole Miss. It'll stay with Minnesota.
And that's what Ole Miss will do to you, is they pressure you and pressure you, make you take shots late in the shot clock, but also make you put the ball on the floor and go one-on-one, maybe more than Minnesota wants to.
Well, you're right. Minnesota, they know it's best when they can work the ball around, be more assist-minded.
This is a great matchup inside today. Walla against Sophie Hart.
Ties this up. Yeah, I like this post matchup on the interior. Hart, the grad student, Uwala, the senior. Uwala's handoff to McMahon. McKinney trying to stick with her, the sophomore. Poe, she really kick-started things in the game on Friday night as she works it into Uwala. And the help D, not quite in position for Minnesota. There's the head coach of Ole Miss, Yolette McKeown. They call her Coach Yo, and in her 8th season, but the last 5 in particular, this is the 5th year in a row, making their way to the NCAA tournament. She has really been impressive.
Yeah, 2 Sweet 16s on her books as well at Ole Miss, and looking for a 3rd one.
They'd love to do it. His first free throw good for Christine Uwala. One of 4 seniors, a few grad students as well as a veteran Ole Miss team. But 8 transfers, a lot of new players for Ole Miss that had to gel and get it together.
Also 8 players that have NCAA experience on this Ole Miss team, which means something in a game like today. Minnesota with just 3, and those players have limited experience.
You think about your experience going through Texas, and you won a national championship, and how you felt when you first started, Andrea, compared to when you had that experience under your belt.
Big difference. They hope to bottle what happened in that 4th quarter, Minnesota does, and be able to bring that momentum here.
Minnesota's first NCAA tournament since 2018, and for Dawn Plitzwhite in her 3rd season, 3 20-plus winning seasons in a row, won the WBIT championship last year, and trying to get their team now hosting for the first time since 2005. They would love to make their way back to a Sweet 16.
Yeah, we saw her take her South Dakota team to the Sweet 16 a few years ago.
Braun. Whistle and a foul as she tries to get a shot off. Will she get to the free throw line? I think they're going to say underneath.
Yeah, and Braun is one player that really likes to shoot the ball from the perimeter. This is just a great fake right there, able to get Uwala off her feet. And that's something Minnesota here early is going to have to do. They're going to have to break down the defense of Ole Miss.
Up the inbound, a mistake there, and can Ole Miss take advantage? They do. Outrunning, that's what they do so well.
Yeah, points off turnovers. That one just kind of lucky with a poor pass on the inbounds. One of the things we want to watch as well is the turnovers in today's game for Minnesota.
Right about that. Miss forcing 21 of them the other evening. We welcome those of you who've been watching the North Carolina game. We're in Minneapolis. The between 4-seed Minnesota, the host, and 5-seed Ole Miss. Crystal Blank, Andrea Lloyd, with 7:37 remaining here in this first quarter. And Ole Miss already forcing turnovers, bringing that stifling defense and causing a few problems for Minnesota's offense.
On keeping this crowd quiet. 10,000 plus here today.
And a foul in the high post. And the Minnesota fans liking the whistle. And if that's against McMahon, that could be her second.
And they will take a look at that to see potentially if there's an upgrade as well.
Yep. And Coach Yo asking what did she do wrong. The officials talking it over. We will try to get some answers. More from the first quarter here in Minneapolis when we return. Up 6-2 in the first quarter here in Minnesota. Our officials today, Mike Forsberg, Bill Laurence, and Kevin Patel, taking a look to see if they're going to elevate this to a flagrant, Andrea.
Yeah, it was an offensive foul called on the floor, and what they're looking at is this contact unnecessary, hard, or excessive? And what they're looking at probably is the speed of the swing. Is it excessive swinging of the elbows? Right here you see Cody McMahon glance the chin right there of McKinney.
After review, it's determined that the illegal contact by Ole Miss number 32 does not meet the criteria for flagrant 1. Therefore, the offensive foul is confirmed.
So there you hear it. It does not meet the criteria, so it will stay. But still, second personal on Cody McMahon. Just to let you know about her, the senior averages 20 points a game, 5 boards, 3 assists. There's not much she doesn't do, and she's a big piece to what Ole Miss does.
Yeah, taking McMahon off the floor right now is a huge bonus for Minnesota. That is everybody's top of the scouting list person to guard. Coach Joe is not happy.
So much of what they do is very much using the defense, their quickness, their athleticism, and just a little too much, they'll say, on that last one.
On a couple of subs coming in for Ole Miss right now. So Denham DeShields will come in at 5'5" defensively. You see her number 22, and Lattimore as well on the interior.
Jador Young as well, 10 in blue. Just more at 6'4". Some length, but Tori McKinney finds the left lane good.
We saw McKinney do that in the fourth quarter. She sat, as you mentioned, with foul trouble in that game on Friday.
Bradley Glaze checked in from Minnesota. That shot just a little bit short as Braun tries to track it down. And Siracinu saying that went off of Minnesota.
Yeah, McKinney just such a big part, Tori McKinney, of the offense for Minnesota. And this is something that they missed the first couple of quarters in that game on Friday, was her ability to get to the rim. 6'1", she has that length to break down the defense, make plays.
I like the officials coming together. They decide it is off of Minnesota, so it stays with Ole Miss. 5 on the shot clock they have to recognize. Chinu gets tripped up. And it's a shot clock violation that allows this crowd to cheer even more.
And that's Briley Glenn right there, number 12 in blue, that made that happen. Coming off the bench, Glenn is a transfer from K-State. Her twin sister played at K-State with her, and she is instinctive and terrific on defense.
Second turn of the game for the Rebels, but the defense, and she knew, as she gets fouled and will go to the line. You can see Glenn trying to draw the charge. But Chinu, those hands, always so active.
Yeah, Chinu missed 7 games earlier this season. Her first game back was on Friday. She looked really good. You see her quickness, her ability defensively as a freshman and now as a sophomore has been a constant for Coach Yo, something that she needs on the floor.
Yeah, she is such a big piece for the Rebels. She said that's exactly what we were missing without her, was what she brought.
Coach Yo always talks about, you know, what are you doing as an individual player to make winning plays for my team? And we asked her who made winning plays on Friday, and her first comment was it was Siracinu.
Yeah. 1 for 2 from the stripe for Chinu. And full court pressure from the Rebels.
We expected this. They were rested on Friday. No player played more than 22 minutes on Friday. For Ole Miss, they can come out and really pressure the ball.
But what an advantage. Minnesota was tested a little more by Green Bay and had to keep starters out there for the majority of the game. Contact inside, they'll say Hart knocked Chinu down, and Dawn Plitz-White not happy about that call.
Well, it was a correct call and a good job by the defense. If you watch right here, watch the left arm right there of Hart as she extends it. That's just a savvy play by Chinu.
Crowd watching the replay did not agree.
There's general unrest in this building right now by the crowd, by the coaches.
Would have been a nice one if the Rebels could have gotten that. Let's take a look at the lineups on the floor, brought to you by Capital One. We talked about Chinu making her way back in after missing those final 7 regular season games. Jador Young, though, in her length after Cody McMahon picking up the second personal this first quarter. That's huge. Others going to have to step up for Ole Miss, but they have depth and they have experience.
Look at Ole Miss deny defense, and their job today defensively is to keep people in front of them. They're going to go under screens for the most part, unless it's Braun, and make you earn it.
Battle at 5'11" was trying to take advantage of the smaller defender as Sophie Hart keeps the miss alive, and she gets fouled.
Sophie Hart, as a graduate student, 5th year, 3rd year at Minnesota. Watch her work on the boards, and this is how she played on Friday as well. At 6'5", she can do a lot of damage on the interior and is happy to play the physical style that Ole Miss wants to play today.
You're right. She has started every single game. 19 points in the win against Green Bay, but 13 of those came in the second half. She was huge as the first free throw's good. Dad in the stands, the family all here. That's Tom, her father. He looks a little anxious, Andrea. He's energized. Gets them both.
Yeah, look at this. Just can Ole Miss right now find something on offense right now? They have not had no field goals since McMahon went to the bench with those 2 fouls a couple of minutes ago.
They need somebody to kickstart the offense. Tiana Thompson is very capable.
Get it inside Diawala. That's what I would say.
She's one-on-one with Tonga.
To her. Yes.
Double team and they find her. And a lefty flick, no good. Long rebound though. Here's Denham to Shields. Aggressive drive, some body bump, and they'll say play on.
That's Glenn on defense again.
Now Tonga has checked in. Hart takes a seat for Minnesota. Here's Braun. Loses the D around and won't drop. 0 for 2 for Mara Braun. Lattimore. But some length with Battle and misses that one. And the kick out to McKinney. McKinney's got length at 6'1" with the smaller to Shields, but they're going to look in to Tonga. Tonga needs some help. Yeah. Smothering defense, Braun. The extra pass, McKinney. Scores it up, around, and no good. And it's out off of Tonga. They'll say go the other way. Coach Yo's team has missed their last 5. Minnesota has fought back within 1. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Second round is presented by Intuit TurboTax. Now this is taxes. Fans bringing the signs and just bringing it here to the barn.
Yeah, fans bringing the signs and Ole Miss bringing the defense, and that's something that Minnesota has been talking about and thinking about for a couple of 24 hours here is just this kind of defense. 3 turnovers already for Minnesota. That averages just 10 per game. They are 4th in the nation as far as taking care of the basketball. And it is that defense that has led to 3 of the 7 points for Ole Miss. But boy, since Cody McMahon has gone out, Minnesota is 0 for 5 from the field. With her in the game, they were 2 for 2. They need to resolve how they are going to attack the basket offensively without her on the floor.
Right, where do they want to find the offense? McMahon picking up the second at the 7:23 mark and had to take a seat. Ole Miss, Coach Joe, gonna have to draw some things up for others. And a lot of what they do is with that energy and what they do on the defensive end, so maybe they can create some there.
And the other thing
The
you
on-court
have to talk about
is Ole Miss basketball. Minnesota is appealing the on-court ruling.
So an appeal taking place, and officials will take a look.
I was going to say just a moment ago, the other thing that really for Ole Miss you would have talked about in that timeout if you're Coach Joe is just the offensive boards. Right now, 2 offensive rebounds for Minnesota, and they have 4 second chance points, so they've scored on both of those. Those are just hustle plays.
Exactly, an area that they can definitely take advantage. And a big focus for Minnesota was to keep them off the glass. Here's what the officials are looking at. Who's it off of?
And just at first glance, it looked like it was off of Ole Miss. You know, the hand was coming down right now.
Ole Miss, number 12, is last to touch the ball prior to it going out of bounds. Therefore, the appeal by Minnesota is deemed successful. It'll be Minnesota ball after the rim hit with 20 on the shot clock.
Well, the Barnyard
And no timeout is charged.
They like the call.
And just a reminder that in women's basketball, you can appeal plays like that on out of bounds, and you have as many appeals as you want. But if you do not win the appeal, you lose a timeout.
It's a successful appeal. Dawn Plitzuweit will hang on to it. McKinney drives it high to low and good. 4 points for McKinney. And the lead to Minnesota. Their first of the ball game. Skip across to Cheney. Nothing but net. That's some good offense right there.
Pretty execution right there, and Cheney was that ability to knock down the 3. I like that pass.
26th make on the year. And now out-guarding Amaya Battle. Trying to seal on the interior, McKinney. McKinney at the point that she's 6'1", Andrea, she's got great length, and a lot of times will have a smaller guard on her.
Well, just a mistake by Ole Miss right there. They were mismatched defensively to Shields, and Lattimore switched. Ended up with the Shields at 5'5" down low, and McKinney, she loves to post up on the low block as a guard.
Yeah, against the Shields, that's her second, and now bonus the rest of this quarter with 3:29 remaining. That's the 5th on Ole Miss. Just 3 team fouls for Minnesota. Is good for Tori McKinney. See the numbers for her Friday against Green Bay. 20 minutes. Picked up early fouls in the first half. Had to sit and watch a big portion of it. And Ole Miss feeling that right now without Cody McMahon, picking up her second back at the 7:23 mark. And McKinney too aggressive, trying for the steal, but had that inside hand knocking down to Shields.
I like the idea. A really nice job of Minnesota getting back in transition defense. Grholski walling up and then just going for the steal here. Give Ole Miss a little bit of their own medicine, getting out in the passing lanes.
That's right, McKinney, her first personal, she'll take the seat. 4th on Minnesota. Over from the Shield. She was solid on Friday in the first round. Braun gets her hands on that one. Battle's going to push. Grholski stopped by the D, and it's taken away. Excellent transition defense by Ole Miss. And 4th turnover now for Minnesota. Oh, but the hand off the mark to Iwala, they just have not been able to establish her in there.
A lot of that is just ball pressure. Minnesota doing a nice job of keeping their hands up, staying close, not giving easy vision into the post. Battle
spins around, banks it up good, lead back to the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, Battle picking up where she left off in the first round. Led her team in scoring in that game. She was consistent, and she's another one at 5'11" that has the ability to play inside out, can post up or back you down into the post. Minnesota coming out unafraid.
Bringing the physicality as well. They have faced multiple teams that have a lot of similarities to Ole Miss throughout the Big Ten, but not all of them combined, as finally Iwala gets the layup good.
Yeah, Iwala had to make it on her own right there. Instead of posting up, steps out and catches. As you mentioned, Minnesota played, you look at the Big Ten.
Yes.
You know, Ohio State, Maryland, UCLA, USC, teams that play similar.
We just saw Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament and did not get the victory in that one as the shot won't go, and a big board for the Rebels. Chapeau gives it to Iwala high, trying to go low. And another offensive rebound and opportunity.
12 on the shot clock.
Caitlin Peterson into the game. Ball is kicked.
That'll reset the shot clock to 20 seconds. A nice job right there by Tonga, who came in and gave some minutes to Sophie Hart on the bench. Tonga, number 31, transfer in. She played 2 seasons at San Jose State, 1 at Salt Lake Community College.
A really nice addition. 3 transfers in this year for Dawn Plitzuwite's team. Iwala with the help D. There's another extra pass. Chinu, this time though, off the mark in the left. 1 minute remaining, first quarter. All tied up.
Look at Sophie Hart on the interior, posting up.
Yep, Iwala, solid defense, moving the feet, forces another turnover. That's the 5th on Minnesota.
Yeah, and this is where you see Iwala, Christina Iwala. She has changed her body type. She has changed her physicality and conditioning this year and has the ability to stick with a guard on a switch right there and defend.
How about that? Really worked in the offseason and so much quicker, stronger. Maybe partially tipped on the shot from the Shields, but the second chance no good. About an 11-second differential shot clock, game clock, first quarter winding down. Braun using a screen, curls up, shooter's touch. Her first points of the game. Chinu, defense left her, big board from Glenn. And a chance to extend the lead with 5 on the clock. Braun, left side, lays it down. This crowd on their feet and loving it.
That is a 15-6 run since McMahon left the game with 2 fouls. And how about Mara Braun electrifying this crowd at the barn once again?
Minnesota with a 5-point lead after 1 quarter, but Christine Iwala, I think Ole Miss needs to try to get it to her just a little more, Andrea.
Yeah, I'd like to see some more direct entry passes. Iwala needing to go to the high post to receive the ball and make her move there. And we talked about Iwala putting the time and work in, changing her body type. These aren't even indicative of what we see on the floor, but you look at the Guns this year compared to last season. She went to work over the summer, changed her eating habits. Coach challenged her, what are you doing to make us a winning team? What can you do better? And she challenges every one of her players. And Iwala just, wow, put some time in, and it has made a huge difference. She's bouncy out there on the floor, can dominate at times.
We just saw the improvement on the numbers as well. She's getting a breather right now. They bring Cody McMahon back in, picked up foul number 2 at the 7:23 mark in the first quarter. And take their chances with her on the floor. Hart inside, guarded by Lattimore. Multiple jerseys coming over. Good help too for the Rebels.
Yeah, it's 6'5" against 6'5" right there with Lattimore. Let's see what McMahon does with the ball in her hand. She loves to get downhill with a head of steam, but with those 2 fouls, she has to be careful.
Late non-conference, started running the point at times for the Rebels. They needed a little more leadership in that role. Shot at the mark, and then quickly Minnesota trying to find Hart. They do. And McMahon couldn't do anything there. 17-6 run for the Golden Gophers. McKinney behind the D, and McMahon makes them pay. Second 3 of the day for Ole Miss.
And that's the kind of thing McMahon can do. She can solve problems for you. She's so tough off the bounce that she gets space to shoot that 3 and improved her range this season.
Yeah, that was an area of focus for her as Ron knew it off the mark to Hart.
And how about Sophie Hart coming to play today? Look at her get down the floor as a big. This is your 6'5" girl beating everybody down the floor, and she goes up against McMahon, who just can't foul her.
McMahon with 5 points. Again, trying to find an opening for her. Good spacing.
Good defense by McKinney right there, doing a nice job of keeping McMahon in front of her, contesting.
Made her take a second look at it, and that time to miss. McMahon is so savvy at reading the defense and what they give her. McKinney recognizing nobody there, but off the back of the iron.
Ole Miss shooting just 29% right now, 5 for 17 from the field.
A team that comes in shooting 43% from the floor. Foul, Chinu trying to get a little closer.
That's the second foul right there on McKinney. She will take a seat. This is what we saw on Friday as well. McKinney getting into foul trouble, something we mentioned that Minnesota needed to keep an eye on today because of the fact Ole Miss is so good off the dribble. Can Minnesota stay out of foul trouble?
Yeah, we'll see how they handle that as she has to sit down.
Just swarmed.
Rebels working it back around the perimeter. There's Poe trying to use the screen. They'll say a push for Minnesota.
Just a little bit of a pitch and screen on the ball here.
Foul on Braun, her first, team second.
Compared to some other things we've seen.
That's right. Yep. Pulling it a little bit closer right now. With Hart behind her. High hedge from Hart. Iwala by herself momentarily. Nice recovery by Minnesota. It's batted around and finally. What a play. Bodies to the floor. Both sides scrappy. Lefty floater, hesitation from Glenn, and it's off. And can't stick with McMahon, and they're going to call a blocking foul on the help D by Battle.
Boy, that is a risky play. We mentioned that Cody McMahon likes to get to the rim. Look at the defense get set up. I thought she was set there. And she got there before McMahon took off from the floor. That is a fortunate call for Ole Miss.
Boy, it's so close, maybe shifting the hip just a bit at the last second. Crowd watching the replay thought she got there. It's the first one good for McMahon.
And this is where Ole Miss will hurt you as well. Is they will turn you over, they will make you foul, and they will get to the free throw line. Cody McMahon, one of the best at it.
Yeah, they average 16 made free throws a game. One of the best in the nation.
12th in the nation in free throw attempts per game. 8th in free throw makes.
Yeah, really aggressive and able to get to the strike. Flicks it up, no good.
If that goes in, I think that's a really nice shot. There's just no rebounders, though, if you miss.
All blue jerseys. Chinu, jump stop, got a little closer, too much spin on it, and a big board for Battle. hesitation. Great read from Battle.
Battle is such a competitor out there. You see her defensively rebounding the ball, and then again, Minnesota in transition has had some luck.
Dawn Plitzuweit wants the defense out further.
Well, she wants the crowd on their feet too.
Lattimore, the drive and the length and the finish.
Yeah, Latasha Lattimore, experienced player. This is her 5th year of basketball, her 5th stop, her 4th stop.
Transferred in from Virginia. Was at Miami prior to that, and Texas to start her career.
She was a leading scorer for Ole Miss on Friday.
15, but another 3 for Minnesota, their 2nd of the game. And the 2nd for Mara Braun. She's perfect.
I'll tell you what, Briley Glenn has come off the bench and done exactly what she's supposed to do as well, and that is be a defensive menace. At 5'10", she's guarding how many different people? Cody McMahon at times. She's guarding the point guard, 5'5", Denim DeShield. I've seen her guarding Lattimore on the interior.
She'll take whoever they need her to take, that is for certain, as they try to get it away from McMahon. And just coming into the game, Tiana Thompson, big 3.
That is her assignment, Tiana Thompson, is to shoot the basketball. She is a tremendous three-point shooter.
First attempt and first points of the game. Perfect timing. They're back within 2. Battle lost it momentarily. Braun gets up from the hardwood and ready to shoot. Mara Braun, 3 for 3 behind the arc. And a timeout called.
Again, electrifying the crowd. Given too much space to Mara Braun after some broken defensive plays, and she is money from downtown.
Thank you, ladies. Yes, I think a big problem with Cody McMahon in some foul trouble as well. The winner of our game here will move on to the Sweet 16 to face the winner of top seed UCLA and 8th seed Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, big win, big play, a couple double-doubles. Cott and Wooten getting it done. UCLA took care of business on the home court. See what adjustments Ole Miss can make. Still have DeShields out at the point. Here's McMahon. Picked up those 2 personals back in the first quarter. They've taken some chances here, and it's been okay. The finish from Thompson.
It's so tough to guard by multiple players for Ole Miss. They run that high screen on the ball in the middle of the floor. Just no help unless it's from your post on the roll, and that is just
great read by Thompson. And DeShields, Coach O likes the effort tipping that away.
Yeah, it's high screen and roll right here. You see the hard hedge by Hart, and just nobody able to help on the drive by Thompson.
Excellent read and finish. And Tiana Thompson, the sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia. Transferred in from Georgia Tech this year. Foul up high.
And what an opportunity she has had as of late with Chinu out of the lineup.
Right.
In the last couple of weeks of the season, Thompson was one of the go-to players and had extended minutes. And coach has learned to trust her. She demands of her that she shoot the basketball.
Sure does.
Don't not take shots, and you see her ability to drive the ball as well. And this is a tough environment right now. Minnesota has come out very confident. This crowd behind them.
Oh, Groholski open momentarily, helped D coming over, and then great recovery from Thompson to get it back. 7 turnover for Minnesota. Thompson high to low, and it looked like Braun got a piece of it. They'll have numbers if they can push. Rebels not able to get back, and Groholski makes some pay all by herself in the left corner.
Groholski did not score in that game on Friday. She is a capable scorer, though.
Averages 12 points a game, and you're right, did not score, and they're going to call a travel on Cody McMahon.
Excellent defense right there. They have Cody McMahon flustered right now. A terrific job on the change of direction to come over and help. And you see again, Battle competing here, walling up. And that's what they talked about doing in practice yesterday. You've got to make a wall and not let McMahon or any of them get to the rim easily.
Yeah, we heard the word wall many times yesterday in practice as McMahon will take a seat, full court pressure by the Rebels. Length for Ole Miss can cause problems for the ball handlers. Tonga back on for Minnesota. Foul up on the ball.
It's on Debrisha Poe out there, just a little too handsy.
Her first, team second. 2:51 left, first half. Minnesota with 3 team fouls.
And one opportunity right here.
Again, the left hand, the baby hook up. And they'll say go the other direction. Tonga begging for an appeal.
This is a clear out play right here for Briley Glenn. Puts the ball up, and we'll watch who might have touched it last. Yeah, definitely off of Ole Miss right there. And Tonga was trying to get her coach to appeal that.
Yes.
Great hustle.
Chinu smothered by Golden Gophers. And the jump bar. It'll stay with Ole Miss.
Come on, you want to talk about Mara Braun. She's not just a shooter. Look at this hustle by Braun. She sees the loose ball, sprints to get it. And again, making big plays for her team, whether it's scoring or hustling.
Redshirt junior, one of 8 from the state of Minnesota. Grew up not far from this venue. Wanted to play here. Shot clock to 2. Ole Miss not recognizing. Big D by Minnesota.
Well, I'll tell you what, 4 of the 5 starters for Minnesota grew up less than 30 miles from this campus, and that is why these fans are out here to support. They love their Minnesota teams, but they also love the ladies that have chosen to stay home and play for Minnesota.
And a foul is going to go against Chinu. Too aggressive on the ball, so the officials have set the tone here of how they're going to call this, and these teams are going to have to adjust. 3 team fouls for Ole Miss, 4 for Minnesota.
Cody McMahon taking a seat. 21
so far, right? They forced 21 turns today, just 7 so far this half.
Which is already, you know, we mentioned Minnesota averages just over 10 turnovers a game.
Yeah. Just under 2 minutes left, first half. 6-point lead for the Golden Gophers. Tonga, one-on-one, trying to get a little more room, gets it to go. Largest lead of the game for Minnesota. Gets the crowd into it even more, but a foul, good aggressive drive by the Shields.
And that foul right there is going to go against Briley Glenn, and we have seen Ole Miss try to get to the rim, and Glenn, a terrific defender. Oh, actually, it looks like it. Is that on Battle?
They call it on Battle.
Yeah,
That'll be her second. So she'll take a seat.
I'll tell you what, Battle and McKinney for Minnesota are 2 huge pieces when it comes to their offense and being able to put the ball on the deck, get to the rim, and make plays, be playmakers.
And both sitting with 2 personals apiece to Shields to the line. First is good. We bring in McKenna Christian, the 6-foot freshman Minnesota does. Her first minutes of the game as you see the senior from Atlanta, Georgia. Transferred in from Mississippi State. And just 1 of 2. And they're going to call a foul As Ole Miss was crashing the offensive board in the miss. Going to get a foul against Minnesota.
This is an important moment for Ole Miss. They have an opportunity right now with the lineup that Minnesota has on the floor that has a little bit less experience to really be able to cut into this lead before halftime. They're down by 7 right now.
In the bonus for the remaining minute 23. And good effort on the miss. It puts Brisha Poe, the senior, to the strike. It's the first 96% free thrower. Pope had 6 quick points in their game and win on Friday against Gonzaga. I thought she really kind of kick-started things for Ole Miss.
Yeah, she does so much for Ole Miss as a leader. Her first year at Ole Miss, played at Mississippi State before, but she's a calm, cool presence on the floor.
Oh, she is. Aspires to be a reporter and broadcaster. You might be sitting next to her one of these days, Andrea. Defense losing the footing. Shot from Glenn, no good. Tonga tries to keep it alive. Good hands on the other side from Thompson. Minute left, first half. 5-point lead for Minnesota. High hedge from Tonga and the body bump. She knew it as soon as she went out. Couldn't stop herself.
And Tonga is playing very hard out there. She is competing in the paint. Not 100% healthy out there, but she and Hart are a 1-2 punch.
Picks up her second. 4 players from Minnesota with 2 personals. Free throws good.
Tom Plitzlight. She is a perfectionist, shouting out, barking out orders right there on the sideline.
Both free throws good. Big ones for Denham, DeShields.
And just a 3-point game.
Both head coaches, former point guards back in the day, and they coach just like it. Turnover, send it the other direction. Opportunities for Ole Miss.
And that's the 8th turnover for Minnesota. Here we go, Ole Miss. You couldn't have scripted it better with Cody McMahon with 2 fouls on the bench, down by 8 at one point.
One possession game before we go in at half. Helped skipping it across. Oh, just short. Oh, Latimer almost the tip in. Down to 1. Brown lets it go. And it breaks up and around. And that would have set the barn on fire, Andrea. Incredible first half, a 20-3 mini lead at the half. That's their record if they can stick it. Let's send it to the Debris studio. Taylor, Megan, and Muffet.
Presented by Intuit TurboTax.
Back in Minneapolis, one more half to go, and it's a 32-29 lead for the 4 seed over 5 seed Ole Miss. Glad to be with us. Chris Flood alongside Andrea Lloyd and boy Mara Braun from Minnesota. She wasted no time getting going in that first half.
Yeah, and she shot 3 for 3 from the field, but the thing that's really interesting is the fact that she was able to get open, and she either made or assisted on 13 of 15 points at one point in the game. You see her hustle play here, getting the crowd involved, and you just can't leave her open that much. And for Ole Miss, Cody McMahon, she had 7 points in that first half, but played less than 10 minutes with those 2 fouls. She was hampered for playing time. They are going to be looking to her to see if she can make a run here and produce on the floor.
I mean, 9.5 minutes. It's incredible what McMahon was able to do with 7 points, a couple of assists, a steal. Yeah, she gets the start here. She takes advantage of every minute, but she needs to get some others going as well, as Minnesota will have the ball first.
And we wondered if Minnesota was going to be able to handle the pressure of Ole Miss. They have 8 turnovers, but only 3 points off turnovers for Ole Miss in this game, so they've done a nice job of being able to score and not allow turnovers to hurt them.
You're right. Shot clock was down. Battle takes the shot off the mark. Chinu will bring it up. Yeah, they have not given up much off the turnovers. That's been a plus.
Look at those points from the free throw line for Ole Miss.
Yeah, thank goodness they were able to get themselves to the line. 10 of 12 from the stripe, and they're going to call an offensive foul on Ole Miss.
Just again, Minnesota's doing a nice job of rotating over. Penetration here, gets the advantage, but doesn't see the defense.
Fallon to Shields, her third. She stays on the floor. She'll continue to pressure, guarding Battle right there with the ball.
The Shields on the floor allows Cody McMahon to not have to play the point guard all the time, so puts her off the ball, keeps her maybe out of foul trouble a bit.
Yeah, great point. Hart looks that one up from way outside. Iwala wasn't letting her get in there for the layup.
Absolutely not. Nice pass right there.
Yep, found an open teammate and takes advantage there. Poe with a big one.
Yeah, 3 defensive players from Minnesota shading over to McMahon, and McMahon did the right thing, found an open player.
All tied up as Chinu got the ball away from Tori McKinney, but clipped her with her body, and Chinu's slow to get up. She was out those 7 games, had the bone bruise. You can see the big brace on her leg, but she's going to stay on. She's wincing a bit, though.
And Chinu with 6 points in that first half, a few rebounds. It's her defensive presence out there, her ability to contest shots.
She'll make you rethink a lot of things you're going to do out there, no doubt about it. The numbers for Battle and Braun. Battle. DeShields a bit smaller. She's tried to take it at her multiple times in this one.
DeShields with those 3 fouls, so I like the idea.
And there's a pretty baseline jumper for Battle. Lead back to the Golden Gophers.
Battle's so calm out there. You know, those upperclassmen for Minnesota, this team that's been together, the starting 5 for 3 years plus.
Gained a lot of experience last year, making their way through the WBIT, winning the championship. As Cody McMahon just slithers by to stop D.
That's what I find so incredible, is Cody McMahon's legs, her ability to change directions like that when she sees the defense.
Incredible. She's got 9 points. Braun, the only player in double figures with 11. Battle takes it up against Poe, and Poe's going to pick up the personal. That'll be her second.
I just watched Cody McMahon on the move, and we talk all the time about getting downhill with her. She's so strong with the ball, reads the defense, who tries to get over the top of that screen, goes back away from the screen here. Just watch her side step.
I mean,
come on.
The body control, the strength, really impressive. So you're out of Dayton, Ohio. And just past Peggy Gillum in Friday's game with 33 double-figure games this season, and now she has passed her for points in a single season. She's just wiping out the records by Peggy Gillum.
And Peggy Gillum, who's sitting not far from us, could not be happier. I'm sure she's like, it's about time.
That's right. Almost a takeaway. McMahon right there, and finds her open teammate Iwala with the finish.
And one of the easier baskets that Ole Miss has gotten today.
Yep.
Just a broken play.
Those are the kinds of plays that they live by throughout the season, and we haven't seen many of those. All tied up. And a takeaway. Go. Defense to offense. And their first lead since it was 10-8. And they forced the turn. Ole Miss bringing a different level of intensity. Fans are up.
Yeah, we talked about in the open and all the first half how this defense for Ole Miss, they are relentless. And it's Sister Poe out there using those hands, known as a shooter, but can play some D as well.
9 turnovers to Minnesota. They've given up 6 points off of them, and we'll take a look at this one. 6:43 remaining, third quarter, lead with Ole Miss. Back back inside the barn, and Blanket Lady in the house, Andrea, one of the biggest fans for these Minnesota Golden Gophers. She gets this crowd into it.
Well, and maybe one of the more pioneers, too, the oldest pioneer for women's basketball and girls basketball that you're seeing right there in her 80s. Played the game when she was younger. Part of those barnstorming teams when it wasn't possible to play in college. Peps Newman did a little traveling in basketball and is well known in these parts.
She knows how to get the fans into it. She had to do it her entire career, as our officials are taking a look at the appeal on who the ball went out on prior to the timeout.
And Ole Miss is appealing this.
After review, the appeal by Ole Miss is deemed successful. Minnesota number 3 causes the ball to go out of bounds. Therefore, no timeout is charged. Furthermore, the clock ran from 6:47 to 6:43 and will be reset. Shot clock at 20.
Take a look at it here.
And yeah, interestingly enough, right there, almost it should have been a technical. You're not supposed to cross the line defensively when somebody's inbounding the ball. It's a little bit of a risky appeal, really, for Ole Miss, considering there's 3 timeouts left. Had she lost that, it would have been 2, and what has been a close game.
It's been incredibly close. They go inside to Iguala. Been a beautiful start for Ole Miss coming out. They're up in this quarter 9-4, and they're on a 14-4 run going back to the second rather. His Hart can't finish the curl inside.
Yeah, look at Cody McMahon, though, hitting the boards, getting the ball down quickly. This is the pace that Ole Miss wants.
Absolutely. The trail by Iguala, and they find her.
Yeah, it's a 16-4 run.
8 points for Christine Iguala.
Iguala and McMahon, that duo, they play so well together on the floor. McMahon out. 10 minutes of that first half.
Aggressive drive. Right there in the finish for Battle on the other side.
You know, in my notes, I have to admit that I have written down she is a pass-first point guard. Now, I'm just going to tell you something. She has not been a pass-first point guard in the first game or in this game.
She's been looking to score as well, and they have needed it. To Shields, McKinney gives her the room, and that was not the thing to do. I love a shooter that says, if you're going to stay off of me, I'm going to take it. Largest lead of the game for Ole Miss. Ole Miss 6 of 7 shooting this quarter. They needed a quarter like this.
It didn't shut the ball well in the first half, around 30%.
Whiskey, shot clock down to 5. Braun, head down, trying to get closer, help defense. Tried to shuffle it over, and a big stop by the Rebels.
Yeah, dictate and disrupt. That is what Ole Miss wants to do on defense, and they don't mind a little offense either. Here's Denim to Shields. Knocking it down from 3.
Just under 5 minutes left, third quarter, and it's Ole Miss regaining the lead over Minnesota, even though Mara Braun has been spectacular so far, Andrea.
Yeah, just a tremendous output by Braun, who's a local girl. Grew up in Wayzata, Minnesota, just 30 minutes west of here, of campus, and was always a Minnesota fan. Came with her parents to games, played basketball from when she was young at Wayzata.
I love it. There's where Dawn Plitzewhite grew up, out on the farm, her dad on the tractor there. And so, you know.
But you talk about Plitzewhite and Braun, and just what respect Coach Plitzewhite has for these players that have chosen to stay home, chosen to stick with her. Retention, such a big deal these days in the time of the transfer portal, and all of the starters have played together for at least 3 years. I'm throwing Braun in there, even though she sat out most of last season because of an injury.
Absolutely. Her dad, Chris, her mom, Ramona.
Good mom.
Following. I love
Did you see that?
So really impressive to keep 8 players in the state of Minnesota on this program. Ole Miss has made a surge this quarter, and they needed to come out as that one just short for Lattimore. A good timeout for Minnesota. Ole Miss with 8 made field goals in the first half total. They already have 6 in this quarter. So they have kicked it up a notch at both ends.
Well, they have outscored Minnesota in this quarter 14-6.
Yes.
So much better offense. Cody McMahon, a big part of that, impacting the game.
Sure is. Hasn't scored since the first quarter and misses there. Tonga back on. She's slow to get up. McMahon pushing pace. Oh, the lefty. But too many bodies in navy blue. And it's batted around, and it comes down to Minnesota. Somehow Glenn ended up with a Tonga ball fake. Pretty.
How about Finau Tonga today? Extended minutes for her, and she's smiling out there. She is firing her team up, firing this crowd up.
Well, Sophie Hart's going to check in at the next chance, but Coach Plitzewhite has seen something she likes with Tonga out there.
10 on the shot clock, and Minnesota's defense has been dictating this game as well. 5.
Now to 2, McMahon recognizing, oh yeah, right at the last minute. Quiets this crowd just a bit. McMahon to double figures again, her 34th time on the year. She has 11. Battle. Jump ball, they will say. Nice job by Ole Miss.
How about the inside right here? And this is what Cody McMahon can do. Ball in her hands at the top as the one player, or if she's playing the 4 player, like in that situation, she can catch, get to the rim.
Incredibly strong. She had a Maya Battle right there with her, but able to elevate up and finish.
And she's not new to this crowd after playing at Ohio State for 3 seasons.
You're right about that.
She understands this court. She understands this crowd.
Coming back in, Sophie Hart forces the turnover on Iwala.
It's the 8th turnover. And just inopportune, taking away a little bit of momentum. But we have seen good defense. And look at the little hedge right there from Braun, who just makes Iwala think twice.
Yep, switch to pivot play. Braun gets fouled behind the three-point arc, and it's on McMahon, her 3rd.
Mara Braun has been so assertive in this game. Early in the game, she didn't get many good looks, but when the defense makes mistakes or in transition and she gets those looks, she's so dangerous.
Braun with 11, hoping to add to it. And does. Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. Both sides, men's and women, up and going.
Mara Braun, a 92.5% free throw shooter, misses a couple.
Taking advantage there. Another 3. 2:20 left, 3rd quarter. Ginu got some space and sticks it.
Yeah, made some space right there against Briley Clinton, who was playing pretty good defense, just a better shot.
8 points for Chinu. Battle using the high screen off the iron. Groholski. Great anticipation to clean it up.
Such an opportunistic player. Again, 5 points today. Didn't score on Friday. Just made a couple of big ones.
DeShields, the quick crossover, had an open lane. Help D knocks it out of play. It'll stay with Ole Miss. Man's going to come back in with the 3 personals. Shields will sit. She has 3 fouls as well. Back out to Chinu, and talk about calm and cool. She's in double figures.
Yeah, Grholski helped just a second on the interior, gave her that space.
11 points, her second three. Grholski left wing, gets it. An answer with a three on the other end.
We have been waiting for this from Grace Grholski.
After not scoring on Friday, she's found a couple of them now. She has 8 points. Cheetah with 11, 2 for 3 behind the arc. As McMahon wanted the and one. She'll take the layup though. Under a minute left, third quarter. Good miss, 4 for the last 4. Extend their lead. High dribble able to hang on.
Shot clock running down at 7.
Hart, smart play. And the long three from McKinney won't go. Cheating. The fader. The shooter's touch.
That was just natural. A great recognition that she was being guarded by Hart on that play. Wanted to go by her, couldn't. Just pulled up and asking for a sub right now. She's giving it her all out there.
Sure has. 13 points, clock down to 5 ticks. To finish this third quarter, Grholski recognizing, just missing the three, and that's gonna do it. Big third quarter, 25-14 this quarter for Ole Miss.
Yeah, a lot of it because of Cody McMahon, but Sari Chinu has also come up big. Things going Ole Miss's way this half.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Dictate and disrupt. There's the SIP squad, Andrea.
SIP squad, the practice guys, saw them out in practice yesterday. They helped the team prepare, and look at the fourth quarter performance from both of these teams in game 1 on Friday. Ole Miss led big, and then were outscored in the fourth quarter 29-13, mostly because Coach Yo was resting her starting 5, but Minnesota trailed, and they were able to go on a 30-9 run in that game against Green Bay. Can they do that today? Can they come up big with their offense?
The winner moves on to the Sweet 16 as Ole Miss starts with their largest lead of the ball game. Sacramento Regional and the Sweet 16 on the line. Ole Miss, it would be their 13th. For Minnesota, it would be their 4th. Foul called out on the perimeter. Gonna go against Ole Miss. And that's the third on Poe. Mara Braun thought there was a tip instead, sends it out of bounds. It'll go the other direction.
Yes, turnovers haven't hurt them a lot, but 13th turnover for Minnesota today. These are missed opportunities of getting a shot up, and when you're a good shooting team, you do not want that.
And then McMahon gives it right back. Yeah, they've only given up 7 points off the 13. Braun on the attack, lays it up with the left hand, and it's out of play. It's going to stay with Minnesota.
I'd like to see Sophie Hart get a touch here and there in this Minnesota offense, and the same goes for Ole Miss with Iwala. Passing the ball to the post has been, the opportunities have been few and far between, but they need touches to keep working.
Kenny on the drive, and they're going to call a foul on McMahon. She's in disbelief, wants to know, what did I do? And that'll be her 4th.
That's been the story today. It was the story of the first half with McMahon, who had 2 fouls, had to sit for extended minutes in that first half, and now again with her 4th will take a seat on the bench.
At the 9:19 mark, see how long Coach Yo will leave her there. It's to the line. It's Tori McKinney, the sophomore from Minnetonka, Minnesota. There's some foul trouble for both sides. 4 for McMahon, a few for Poe and DeShields. 2 apiece for Holski Battle and Tonga. This free throw's good for McKinney. She has 8 points. Chinu, she has been tough to stop. That one off the mark. Holski wants to push. Good transition D by the Rebels.
And key for today also for Minnesota was being able to rebound with Ole Miss. They have done just that. 22-22, it's even.
Ole Miss is an incredible team on the boards at both ends, and that was a big area of focus in practice yesterday. Shot clock down to 5. Braun.
Boy, every shot has been contested for Minnesota here
Sure
in
has.
this quarter.
Gina's saying, I'm ahead of everybody, and lays it up good.
Wow.
Great communication on the fast break.
Yeah, just leaked out in front and was able to get an easy one.
15 for Chinu. 4 boards, a couple of assists.
Walla again stepping out on the switch, able to guard the perimeter player.
Shots just off the mark. It was really impressive, shooting over 70% from the floor for Ole Miss in the 3rd quarter.
And the crowd knowing Minnesota needs a defensive stand.
Walla, the extra pass. Excellent read, but off the mark this time. She hasn't been off by many in this game.
I like that look, though. I like the fact that the ball went inside to outside.
Yeah, it was the right play. Walla read it perfectly.
When you're a post player and you don't touch the basketball for a while, you kind of want to score. So getting touches is so important when you're working hard out there. In one-on-one plays for Minnesota here.
Hart on the weak side. Battle. And a jump ball, the call. Minnesota has been so close, but it's just not falling right now. And the possession arrow will send it to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss's defense makes you play one-on-one. They make you put the ball on the deck because they deny easy passes. And Minnesota is right now falling into the trap of maybe a little too much of that.
They definitely dictate what happens out there so often, as Coach O wants a timeout. Gonna talk things over. 7:06 remaining to determine who's moving on to Sacramento. Thanks very much. 7:06 left here in Minneapolis. And now for today's slam dunk matchup, brought to you by Wendy's. Coming up next, how about Baylor and Duke? Toby Fournier, the sophomore standout and All-American, and Talia Scott. They can put some points on the board. That's going to be a fun one.
Another look at Cody McMahon on the bench, where she sat quite a bit today due to foul trouble.
Lost her in the first half after picking up 2 quick ones in the first quarter. Went out in this one at the 9:19 mark, and there's good D by McKinney. And then hands it right back. Been rushing a bit. It's what Ole Miss makes you do. The Shields goes one way, loses the defender. The shot won't go though. Outrunning Braun. She needed that one. She scored just 1 point last quarter after 11 in the first half.
And remember, it was Braun who spurred the run in the second quarter for Minnesota.
First field goal in a long time for Minnesota, going back to the 3rd. Lattimore gets fouled up high.
Minnesota had turned the ball over a few times here and haven't gotten shots, but great opportunity here in transition. And I'll tell you what, if you want to go against Ole Miss's defense, beat them down the floor. That's the easiest way to do it.
It definitely helps. Brown with 14 and a 6-point lead for the 5 seed. Chinu has been stellar with 15 points. Hart, Hefty coming over on Chinu. And she's getting herself to the line with the extra effort. The foul on Gracholski.
Chinu is the one that's being very active out there on offense. And when you talk to Coach Yo about what she wants to see and why she put Cody McMahon at the point in mid-season this year, it's because she wants to see people get downhill. And that's what Chinu does so well. And she's been doing it throughout this game, just making something happen.
Yeah, loves what Chinu can give and open up in other areas. To the line she will go, the sophomore from Mali. This is the first free throw. For the 6th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. So many games to look forward to as Chinu gets the second. 16 for her. And continues her full court pressure. And now some trap from Ole Miss. Brown will bring it across. Kicks it out to Glenn. Gets it.
Not a terrific three-point shooter. But how about Briley Glenn with that experience in the NCAA tournament coming up big.
Make the extra pass. And they made him pay there. 4-point lead for the Rebels. McMahon, so strong, says, give me the ball, I will get it done. And she's going to go to the free throw line. So tough. A frustrating game for her. Whistles have not gone her way. Trying to keep her cool out there. Continue to lead. Foul on Glenn, her second. First one good for Cody McMahon. Gets them both. 15 points for McMahon. Perfect from the line. 4 for 4 from the stripe with 5 minutes remaining to determine which team moves on to the Sweet 16. Ole Miss trying to do it back-to-back years. It's been since 2005 for Minnesota.
Shot clock at 9.
Penny recognizing the length of Chinu. The up and under around but won't go, but she gets fouled in the process.
Yeah, McKinney just continues to be assertive and get to the basket. Chinu, it looked like she might have fouled right there and stuck with the play. I mean, this is what we mentioned this earlier. Again, Minnesota putting the ball on the deck, going one-on-one because they don't have other options. That's where you're off, as a player, you need to find ways to get open and get a pass in.
Yeah, movement without the ball.
Correct.
Spacing, little details, so crucial.
Yeah, those extra cuts. See that Q collar on McKinney around her neck. She's been in concussion protocol at different times in her career, and that is to help her.
Yeah, they are happy. She struggled with that a couple of times this season. They were without her. McMahon has battled, tries to drop, and does. The charge going to go against McMahon. And all she can do is smile and walk to the sideline. That is her fifth.
Minnesota's defense one-on-one again here. You see battle. She has battled against McMahon today in the post, playing the 4 position. just holds her ground to take that contact.
Another close win, but McMahon doesn't win this one. Her 5th personal, but 5 of 6 shooting for Cody McMahon. 15 points. We'll have to watch the remaining 4 minutes plus.
A mismatch here. Walla on Braun.
Hart letting him know. And she gets fouled and will go to the line. That's the 15th foul on Ole Miss.
Again with the mismatch. Good recognition by Minnesota. They get the ball inside to Hart, who's being guarded by a smaller player, and Hart unable to finish. She had 6 in that first half and hasn't scored here in the second half.
Foul on Poe, her 4th, but the 5th puts Minnesota in the bonus the rest of the way, Andrea. Just under 4 minutes left in this quarter. First one good for Sophie Hart, as she's been quiet at times. With Joe having a chat with Natasha Lattimore. She's going to check back in.
The Minnesota bench, they've talked about their cohesiveness.
It's the free throws.
They weren't loose. Minnesota's bench was loose when they were down in that game on Monday, and they had a moment of tension, I think, here earlier, but they can smell an opportunity.
High screen for Chino, and she gets it. She's so composed.
Yeah, she really is. Unaffected by this crowd. That's the first field goal in almost 5 minutes for Ole Miss.
18 points for Chino, and the shot off the mark there. The Shields will bring it up. Good crossover.
Again, a wall of defense right there for Minnesota. The crowd wants 3 seconds.
Chino. Crossovers need some help. Mara Braun knocked to the floor, no whistle. Chino ready to get that one, but off the iron instead. Braun, a quick look on the left side. Hart tracks it down. I was surprised she took that one, Andrea. The defender was right there. And we go to Hart inside. Lefty layup, no good. Battle. An offensive rebound and a foul call against the Rebels will put her to the line.
Right now, Minnesota making plays. Those 2 offensive rebounds gives them extra opportunities. That's why it's so important not to turn the ball over. Even if it's a quick shot, like you mentioned with Braun, you have an opportunity to go get the basketball. And heck, Braun is such a good shooter. That could have gone down too.
Oh, you're right about that. Stay with it, and they get themselves to the line. Amaya Battle, the senior out of Hopkins, Minnesota. With 10 points.
82%. 82% free throw shooter. Good one to have at the line.
No doubt about it. 9 rebounds, 4 assists for Battle. Gets them both. .241 remaining. 3-point lead for Ole Miss. Minnesota with 12 second chance points compared to just 3 by the Rebels. It's been huge today for them.
Yeah, dribble handoff, one-on-one opportunity right here. Good defense by Minnesota.
One possession game. Smaller defender on Hart inside, and now switched to Walla. Oh, the takeaway by Walla.
Those 2 good girls go battling in there.
What a matchup. Under 2 minutes left. Winner moving on to the Sweet 16 in Sacramento. Chino steps it back. Just misses.
It's double-digit rebounds for Battle. 11 on the game today.
She's making her way towards a potential triple-double if she could get a few more assists, if there's probably not quite enough time left. Dawn using a screen, she went. Fourth three of the game for Mara Braun. Shot clock down to 5. Rebels got to recognize. Down to 2. High screen for Cheer. They don't get it off. And Minnesota will take possession. And I think you can thank the crowd on that one, Andrea.
Absolutely. Timeout right now.
Let's check in with Taylor in the studio. Thank you, Taylor. We are all tied up. 41.5 on the game clock. And a full shot clock for Minnesota, forcing the turnover and a shot clock violation.
Yeah, and just keep an eye on timeouts right here as well. So Minnesota called that last timeout. They have 3 left. Ole Miss with just 2 left. The ball will be in the front court here after the timeout. So Minnesota will have possession in the front court. We have the official in front of us here to the left.
There you see the game reset, yeah. 3 timeouts for Minnesota, 2 for Ole Miss, and then possession arrow pointing to Minnesota.
And this is where that cohesiveness from Minnesota, from playing together for so many years, and the fact that they are all good friends, they are loose right now, they've been in this situation.
Dawn Plitzwite's team has not led since it was 36-33. Cody McMahon picking up that 5th personal. Has to sit and watch for about 4 minutes. She's been over there. Hart guarded by Lattimore. Feels out one way. Help D trying to get better pass. The lead to Minnesota. Shot clock is off, and Ole Miss wants to talk about it. A 7-0 Minnesota run, and they regain the lead. Sophie Hart's dad, Tom, liking what he saw his daughter just do.
This is what happened with Minnesota on Friday as well. They are able to get a little bit of a lead, and they have come up big with the momentum. And this is where Dawn Plitzwite really likes her team, because they are a self-led team, so they can figure problems out on the floor, taking an opportunity to talk about things right now. The ball will be Ole Miss's basketball in front of us to our right. They will take possession in the front court. But for them, for Ole Miss, they have struggled to score 9-2 runs since McMahon fouled out of the game. Who will they go to? What will they draw up?
Let's take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance.
Well, here's Braun with the basketball in her hands, and she was intent on finding a way to get a look at the basket. And I'll tell you what, this crowd loves Mara Braun and her teammate, the senior, Hart in the middle. Been kind of quiet here in the second half, but no bigger shot than that one.
Braun with 17 points. Sophie Hart. There you see the governor, Tim Walz, with his son Gus. They're on their feet. How can you not be in here?
I saw Coach Plitzwite's parents over there almost on their feet, and they're sitting on their walkers.
They've made their way here as well, Harold and Mary. 13 seconds remaining. Lattimore, beautiful drive and finish. And a timeout called by Minnesota. That stops the 7-0 run. Big play by Latasha Lattimore.
Yeah, Lattimore also been quiet in this game, and she hasn't had many easy looks, and I like this. Post her up on the low block. Let her use her speed and size at 6'4", 6'5" to get to the rim. She's experienced as well. She's driven. She wants to win right now. She knows this is her last go around, and as a super senior, she wants to make the big play.
Well, you're right about that. Averages 11 points a game. Has just 4 points in this one, but 3 big rebounds. And impressive defense from her. There's 3.5 seconds remaining, and there you see possession arrow would go to Minnesota. Just one foul to give for the Golden Gophers, but they have 2 timeouts. Ole Miss with just 1.
Well, the clock is the problem right now for Ole Miss with 3.5 seconds left. You're going to look to go for a steal if you're Ole Miss on the inbounds and see if you can get something streaking down the floor. And if you can't, then you're going to foul. But, you know, put Minnesota at the line.
Yeah, Ole Miss got to play your best defense ever on this inbound play with 3.5. Minnesota going to draw something up.
If you're looking who to foul out there right now, maybe Sophie Hart, 61% free throw shooter. If she gets the ball in her hands, likely the out of bounds play won't come into her. They will look for one of their better shooters. Mara Braun shoots 92, McKinney 84, Battle 82.
Battle.
The previous play is under review for a timing error.
The official is going to take a look, make sure it goes in. Maya Battle potentially sending her team to the Sweet 16, but they got to make sure. They're all tied up.
Looked like the clock started on time and that she got it out of her hands.
The game clock will be reset to 0.8 seconds, the time that the ball cleared the net. Ole Miss is taking a timeout to advance the ball.
So what they're saying is the ball went through the net and there was still time left on the clock. So 0.8 seconds put back on the clock. Ole Miss took a timeout. They will advance the basketball to the front court. And at this point, there is time for a quick catch and shoot.
Oh, yeah. There certainly is.
No time to dribble.
0.8 on the clock. And the inbound at their end. And a good thing for Ole Miss, they had the timeout in order to bring it up.
What a game this has been. And Ole Miss trying to draw something up right now. I mean, this is where you really need somebody that can set good screens and get a player open. And then you look at the roller potentially if you've set a good screen to be able to get the ball in bounds. You do not want to give up something easy at the basket if you're Minnesota. Back screen for Lattimore.
Thompson off the front of the iron. She had a look, but that's going to do it. Minnesota is going to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2005.
What a tough loss for Cody McMahon and Ole Miss.
What an incredible player Cody McMahon is. Ole Miss with so many veterans.
I'll tell you what, Minnesota took advantage of McMahon not being on the floor, and they had some veterans themselves that played very well. Battle coming in and hitting that huge shot.
And Andrea, Ole Miss was outscored 11-4 after Cody McMahon went out. Minnesota took advantage, and they are continuing their dance to the Sacramento region. That is going to do it for us. Our final, Minnesota 65, Ole Miss 63. For Andrea Lloyd, I'm Christopher Blunt saying so long from Minneapolis. Next up, it's Baylor and Duke. More second-round action. Jen Hildreth, Kelly Gramlich, they've got the call. Thanks for being with us, everybody.